What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back. It's been a minute since I've made a video. Life's been a little bit crazy, kind of having a lot of moving pieces, and haven't been riding as much as I have in days past, but we're headed down to Lightning with Evolve GT at a New Jersey Motorsports Park right now. And as you can see, I've stepped my game up and I've gotten myself a big old sprinter van here. We are loaded to capacity. We got two motorcycles. I got my SV650, and then I also have the GSXR 600, the MDM one that I was racing. So I've got both bikes with me. Brand new slicks on the GSXR, and some slicks on the SV that have about a day on them. So regardless, I'm super excited to get down there and just spend a weekend riding with some buddies, and happy to take you guys along for the journey, and hopefully I can get some good helmet cam stuff figured out and everything else. But as for now, we're just gonna keep on trucking. We got about an hour and 10 minutes until we're down there. So yeah, until then, I'll see you guys down there. We made it. It's the morning time. First session's about to come up, first rotation of groups. I'm probably not gonna record this first one. It's still pretty foggy and overcast and super sticky out here, so won't record this first one, just get my eye in, kind of get warmed up. But right now the game plan is kind of spend the morning on the SV, first few hours on this, first few sessions, then somewhere around lunch hop onto the Gixxer. I got fresh slicks front and back on the Gixxer, and I've got a backup rear as well, so but should be a good day and looking forward to it, and love this track. I love Lightning. It's really fun, really fast and flowy, so yeah, just go out and get my eye in. Alright, so we're jumping straight into things here on board the SV650. This is probably about early afternoon on the bike. I put together what I thought were some of my best laps around the track this day, and there's definitely a lot of room for improvement, a lot of things looking back at the video that I was not happy with. I ultimately ended up getting into the 113s on the SV, which isn't bad, but I would have really liked to get closer to the 10s. But overall, with the amount of riding I've been doing this year, I'm pretty happy that I was able to go out there and put in some pretty decent laps on the SV. So I'll let you guys watch this lap coming up here, and then I'll chime back in and kind of walk you around a lap of Lightning. One thing worth noting during this is that I do have the Pirelli 190 slick on the back of the SV now, so the revs from the side of the tire to the top are noticeably different. That's something I'm still figuring out, but turn one here, with how it goes uphill and then drops off, you can carry a lot of speed into there, just because when you're going up the hill into the corner, it really slows you down a lot more. Turn two is an area I wasn't happy with, like especially on this bike. I should have been going a lot deeper and staying on the power longer, but I was trying to get on the limiter of fourth gear going into there. Coming up over turn 5 here, I know I'm losing at least a half a second to a second just on the entry, and if I'm losing that much time on the entry, a decent amount would also be made up on the exit just by carrying more speed through there. Coming up to turn 7 here, having to grab 3 downshifts on the SV, and also in hindsight, I was scrubbing off too much speed for this corner all weekend long. Just slowing down too much. It's really not that much slow of a corner. Coming down into the bowl here, really can go really deep into here on the SV, and could have been going deeper myself. I want to do some more things to the brakes on this bike to just make them feel a little more solid. They're great now, but I could make them a little bit better. But overall, this track is a track that has a lot of consequences. like one mistake in one section is going to cost you a lot of time just because of how high speed of a track it is. So coming into turn 1 on pretty much every bike, it's down two gears into one, letting that hill take away your speed, back on throttle at apex. Usually you're going to be power wheeling over 1, but then using this patch across the track as my braking marker. Then turn 2, this lap I sucked. I should have been on the throttle a lot harder, let me drive out wider before turn 3 there, which also would have helped set up for 4 better. Again, off throttle a little too long for turn 4. Coming into 5, I should have been doing a little bit more of a direct line, but it still got the job done. Driving down the hill through 6. Awesome corner. This is probably my favorite part of the track. You're just on the right side of the tire, 6th gear on the SV, down 3. But again, just scrubbing off too much speed through here. I could have pushed myself a brake marker or 2 further back and just carried more speed through there, which again would have just helped my drive out of there all the way down into the bowl. The bowl is deceiving. There's so much camber there. On any motorcycle, you can go so deep and just push the front so hard. It's quite forgiving, and then shooting out and trying to get a double apex, which wasn't doing the best at on the SV. Still got some kinks to work out with myself, just kind of getting the feel of things again. But overall, I was pretty stoked to be doing some 113s on the SV. It's a respectable lap time, but not lighting the world on fire at the same time. And hopping right in onto the Metric Devil Moto GSXR 600. This was all day Sunday I rode the GSXR, and Saturday I rode the SV. So again, this is probably about halfway through the day. I'm behind Dave Martino here, and first time back on this GSXR in about a year, since a year ago at Lightning, honestly. Definitely still working on the whole 600 thing. Got some more stuff to figure out. That bike's got a lot more to offer. I'm not using the side of the tire nearly enough. Be carrying a lot more speed and getting on the throttle sooner and harder. But here you can see getting a little close and friendly with Dave. He's a very good friend of mine, so have a lot of confidence in that guy's riding. And then starting a lap, coming down into 1, using the start finish as my brake marker, or rather roll off point, trying to brake a little bit deeper than that, and I'll let you watch a lap and then hop back in. Definitely significantly better in the bowl on the GSXR than the SV. Just shooting out wider after clipping the first apex and really being able to hook it back in for that second apex there. And looking behind me and seeing I got Greg Nisk and Alberto back there, I know I got a boogie and put in a good lap. So coming down to turn 1, again, it's going to be 2 downshifts. Pretty good braking into turn 1 this lap. This bike obviously power wheelied out of 1 a lot more than the SV did. But again, using that patch across the track as my braking marker, trying to get up to the top of 3rd, but on the throttle a lot better on the GSXR and shooting out wide for turn 3 and turn 4. You can just see how much better the line was. Still a little early, or rather late on throttle for turn 4, and then turn 5, just again, losing that time in the braking zone. But then working my way up to 4th, and then 5th gear coming through here, which is just, again, an awesome feeling on one of these bikes. Down 3 gears for turn 7. Again, scrubbing off too much speed on this bike, too much time off throttle, and not carrying enough speed in those RPMs up and out of the corner. I was kind of having to short shift the bike over the crest here, just to kind of keep it settled while I'm going through. It kind of would get upset and wiggle around a lot if I tried to upshift at the crest. It was just not the best feeling in the world, but
Side.
I want a video of me too.
Okay, this time.
When Alberto asks you for some video, you gotta get some video. So roll out behind Dave Martino again for this session, and then later on you're gonna see Alberto enter the picture on his RSV4. It is very worth noting that he had his TC and wheelie control completely turned off for this session, so he definitely had some really cool wheelies coming up over turn 1. You're going to see I get pretty close to Dave here going through turn 6 and into 7. Should have just gone for it into 7, but again, I was just always too scared going in there, not braking deep enough and light enough. So next time I go back to lighting, I definitely know what I want to work on and where I can improve and pick up seconds. Overall, I got down to the 110s on the GSXR, which again is a decent lap time. I really would have liked to be sub 110, even closer to the 107s, but after a year not being on a 600, I'll take some of that. And again, not been riding as much as I used to, so I'm happy with some 110s. But yeah, I'll shut up and let you sit back and enjoy some good riding. You can really see how good of a rider Alberto is. Yes, he's on a 1000, but he's even destroying me through 2, 3, and 4. The guy has a history of racing in Italy when he was growing up, so he's always a blast to ride with. It was a great session rolling around with him. A little bit more traffic this session, so I had to be mindful of that. Didn't want to go and ruin anyone's track day for no good reason. So it's really good laps, and again, Alberto's a blast to ride with. And 3 days later, I am headed home. I've fought with a litany of GoPro problems this weekend again. every now and then I start recording a clip, and then when I go back to look at it later on, the whole thing is just frozen, but the audio keeps going, so that kind of sucks. I lost some good laps on the helmet cam stuff, and then I think one of the two of the clips I filmed in between sessions in the paddock also got corrupted, but overall, what an awesome 2 days. Mainly rode the SV on Saturday and then rode the GSXR all day Sunday. I got into the 113s on the SV and then did a few 110s on the Gixxer. Not the fastest laps in the world, but definitely happy with it considering how much little riding I've been doing this year. And also just feeling comfortable on that GSXR is big because the bike always fought me a lot. Rather than the bike fighting me, I was always fighting myself on that bike, and I felt very comfortable on it this weekend. Didn't feel like I was pushing super hard to get those lap times, so that was a good feeling for sure. But overall, huge thank you to Evolve GT Track Days for having me out. As always, they put on amazing events, awesome times hanging out in the paddock with all my buddies, and I'll be sure to be filling you in on who was who on all the voiceovers in the prior clips. But overall, thank you guys very much for watching if you made it this far, and stay tuned for more content.